One man is being victimized by our own government. One man who they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
Is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey everybody, welcome. Hope you're having a great Tuesday afternoon. This is the inaugural daytime show. I'm going to try and keep this to an everyday show moving forward through the election, at least. See how it goes, see how people like it, and see if they get entertained and educated by what I have to say. But it's going to try and go 1 o'clock every single afternoon here on Fanfare. And it's new for me. I usually just do the rallies, and then once in a while I'll do a live show, but I'm going to go with a news show. So what you're going to see today is something very different. Initially, I had decided I was just going to do an overall news show. Nah, we're not going to do that. This is going to be a Trump news show. Everything that surrounds the Trump orbit, I am going to put in front of you guys because there's so much that you may not be seeing it all. There's so much to talk about everywhere in terms of what's going on with Trump. So, if you guys have been following the news, and I put up a community post the other day, things are about to get a little sticky. Things are about to get a little freaky deaky. We're beginning to enter a whole new realm of censorship. They did it a couple years ago. They did it during the pandemic, and now they realize they have to do it again. As I've been saying, there is no way that Dementia Joe can beat Donald Trump in a fair election. Can't happen, and at this point, more and more people are starting to realize it, and so now they're ushering in a new platform, a new idea that they want to make sure that the media follows suit, and everybody else is just going to become victim to it, whether we like it or not, including myself. Hopefully not too bad, but it's already begun. I told you guys about some of the censorship stuff, but now we ain't seen nothing yet, is what I said in my post earlier. So before I get into all that censorship stuff, well, I guess this is part of it. When I went to high school, maybe when a bunch of you guys went to high school, you guys and ladies, you read the book 1984. 1984 was a novel written by George Orwell. He wrote it in 1949. He wrote a book that basically is becoming the Democrat manual, operating manual. It's how they are going to basically govern America. They took his book, which I'm sure George Orwell just thought, I'm just going to write a book, see how it goes, see how people receive it. He never understood that it was going to be some sort of dystopian operating manual. And it seems as though somebody in Dementia Joe's campaign, in their war room, has said, you know what? We can take this book and do what it says. We can actually become Orwellian. We can make these people become Orwellian subjects. And there's nothing they can do about it. That's what they think. There's a lot of people out here who aren't going to stand for the crap anymore. But I just want to take you through basically a little bit of background. So we're going to talk about 1984. And this is a Wikipedia reference. I don't usually like Wikipedia, but it's a book, so it can't be too far. It said the book was written in 1949 by George Orwell. What I want to bring your attention to is something right here. It says that Orwell was a staunch believer in Democrat socialism. He was a socialist and a member of the anti-Stalinist left. Not sure what all his political leanings were, but when he wrote this book, I think he was going after the right. I'm not really sure what he was thinking, but he just wanted to talk about the propaganda in Nazi Germany, because more broadly, the novel examines the role of truth and facts within societies and the ways in which they can be manipulated. So I don't really care which side of the aisle he was on. His book foretold a future where that future would be manipulated by the media and the powers that be, whoever it happened to be in control at that time. From that book, I don't know if you remember, there's a quote that's going around right now. And one of those quotes is, I'm going to play in a second, or not play, but show. But the first quote I want to show you, I think is even more impactful than the second quote. The first quote: the further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. I think we can take that right now pretty much as political gospel. The further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Obviously, that's not really complicated. The more they lie to you, the more they hate you for telling the truth. That's specifically what he was saying. And we're seeing that play out over and over and over. And thank God that Elon Musk bought Twitter, because that's about the last bastion of true free speech that we have as Americans. It's just not available in other platforms. You can't say certain things here. You can't say certain things on Facebook. You can't even say certain things on TikTok. And there are some things that you can't say even on Twitter. Imagine this. We're in 2024. 2024, nearly 80 years after George Orwell wrote that book. And I would never have imagined that we'd be in a position where we can't talk, where we're told by our government and by other people, tech companies, media, that you can't talk, you can't say certain things. And if you do, they'll try and shut you up. Never in my wildest imagination, having lived, grown up, seen the craziness in the 60s and everything that went on during the 60s, and then the laid-back era of the 70s, and now we're just seeing insanity run amok because they're allowing certain people to talk, but not the ones that they want to talk. You see, they're allowing people to talk who aren't telling the truth. They're allowing people to run roughshod over people who want to tell the truth. They want you, they want me, they want many other people to shut up while they just go out there and riot and do all kinds of stupid things. It makes no sense. Now here's the second quote, which I'm sure if you've been paying attention lately in the news, this one's the one that's making the rounds. And it's almost as if the Biden campaign and Biden administration took this quote and said, this is the answer. This is how we get Dementia Joe reelected. Here's that quote. The party, I guess we can say Democratic Party at this point, told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Just look at that. Reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, and it was their final, most essential command. Somebody in the White House decided we need to go to a post-truth world. We have to stop this right now. We've got a guy who's sliding, somewhat senile. Everybody can see it. Everybody can hear it. We all can hear what he says. We all can see what happens. And now they're looking right in the camera and telling you what you're seeing and what you're hearing isn't true. What do you mean? Nope, it's not true. It's just completely made up. It's manipulated by his opponents. It's manipulated by the right wing. It's been manipulated by right-wing media, Trump supporters. It's not true. But I just saw it. I actually saw it with my own eyes. Nope. You're not allowed to believe what you see and hear and take it as real. You're no longer allowed. Period. Final, most essential command. The most final and essential command of Dementia Joe's campaign is that you are not allowed to listen or see what you actually hear and see. That's their final command. That's it. You're done. We're not going to allow that anymore. Don't like it? Too friggin' bad. Deal with it. We're going to make sure at this point we tell you what the message is, and we've got these other cohorts and idiots who are going to force that upon you and tell you that this is what it has to be. Think I'm lying? Well, let's listen to what Miss KJP said yesterday. It was pretty, in case you guys haven't seen it, I'll play it. Hopefully the powers that be won't come down on me. But let's listen to what she said.
There seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah. Okay, before she answers, you could see that she wasn't concerned about the question. She pretended as though she was looking through something. And if you heard what the guy said, what his actual question was and how he posed it, he lobbed a softball to her that she already knew was coming. He didn't ask a normal question. A lot of people may have missed that. I'm going to play that again, and I want you to listen to what this guy's question is.
There seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused.
There seems to be a bunch of videos out there that have been edited to make the president seem frail and or weak. I'm sorry, where's your question? You just made a statement. You didn't ask her a question, you made a statement. That statement then, because it's played on all the airways, almost becomes factual. There was no question about his question. She didn't say, what do you mean? No, I don't think people are manipulating this stuff. As a reporter, maybe the question should have been, and would have been very easy, hey, what do you think about these videos that are showing, Dementia Joe looking demented? Maybe not those words. Let me talk in the way a reporter would say. What do you think about these videos where it shows as though Mr. Biden, President Biden, seems to be losing his faculties? That's a question a reporter would ask. A question that a reporter, if he was really interested in writing a story, would be looking for that information. Instead, he teed up a softball that was already preloaded. What do you think about these videos that are being edited and manipulated to show Joe in a certain way? What the hell kind of a question is that? And who said they were manipulated? And who said they were trying to show Joe in a certain way? I'll tell you who did. She did. She told him, probably slipped him a note and said, ask me this question. I'm going to call on you first. It was the first question. She knew it was coming. And then she came up with this stupid answer. And it actually wasn't stupid. She was sending a message.
I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's...
I haven't heard anybody until she said those words, cheap fake. In fact, I hadn't heard the term cheap fake. I had heard deep fake, which is basically an AI type video. I haven't heard the term cheap fake. She said it so quick so that hopefully people would hear and would resonate as deep fake, but still, they're trying to say it's fake. What I put on the side here, just so you can recognize, on the top is the video that pissed everybody off in the Dementia Joe campaign, and then on the bottom is the video that was took from the feed of the event. And you're going to notice something in the difference of those two videos. One of them, the one on top, shows the actual incident that occurs, and the one on the bottom conveniently cuts away. They didn't think anybody would be there to catch the top one. But you can listen to her and see what's going on.
Exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith. And some of your news organization.
Okay, right there. You see how the bottom one cut away? And she's saying it's being done in bad faith. What she didn't understand, that there was somebody or multiple people in the audience filming at the same time. They didn't know that that video had gotten out. The one on the bottom was actually put out by the Biden-Harris campaign. I left the logo in at the end so you could see it, but it was put out by the Biden-Harris campaign. They conveniently cut away the camera too, so you can't see what's happening on the stage. They didn't know that there was somebody with an alternative shot that shows you exactly what happened.
Have been...
Boom. There's the hand grab. There's Obama reaching over to Dementia Joe and saying, hey, dude, follow me. Let me get you out of here. If you look at the bottom feed, there's nothing there. They're not showing you that. So as you're listening to her meander and talk, watch the bottom and top feed, and you can see the difference.
Very clear, have stressed that these right-wing critics of the president have a credible...
Did you notice that quick cut? All you're seeing on the bottom screen was that they're both walking off. You didn't see the grab, only on the top screen.
Ability problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation.
The fact checkers. Who are the fact checkers? Who's checking the fact checkers? Who's fact checking the fact checkers? Because we can't trust them. I showed you a Wikipedia page. That was easy. That was just 1984. But they're out there everywhere editing everything they possibly can to change what actually happens. They do it on the fly. So who's checking the fact checkers?
Disinformation. And so we see this, and this is something coming from your part of the world, calling them cheap fakes and misinformation. And I'll quote the Washington Post, where they wrote...
The Washington Post. Here's another just creme de la creme of media excellence there, aren't they?
About this, and they said how Republicans use misleading videos to attack Biden in a 24-hour period. And to their credit, we have a conservative Washington Examiner did call them out as well, calling out the New York Post. Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for.
No, they're not.
Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate.
Desperate. She says the Republicans in Trump are desperate. Who's desperate, KJP? Who's the one who's getting spanked in the polls? It's not the Republicans.
Desperate Republicans are here. Instead of...
And she can just say that with a straight face, and there's nobody in the audience raising their hand going, ooh, ooh, ooh. What do you mean? Nope. Just say whatever you need to say. Because at this point, we are in a post-truth world.
Talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country.
Well, maybe you should tell the American people what these legislative wins are, because nobody knows. A legislative win hasn't helped anybody get cheaper gas, hasn't helped anybody get cheaper groceries, hasn't helped anybody get better mortgage rates. So what legislative wins are you talking about? Notice I'm asking those questions because the reporters never do.
We're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos, and it is, again, done in bad faith.
All right, so before I go on there, excuse me, she put the word out there in the press conference, and then dutifully, the press began to basically follow suit. Shortly thereafter, we get this from NBC News. Misleading GOP videos, so they've labeled them GOP videos, of Biden are going viral. The fact checks have trouble keeping up. So once again, you've got now the media beginning to blame people. Hey, the GOP, that nasty GOP, they're out there giving out fake videos, and we don't want that to happen. And then we have the AP, the Associated Press, claim Biden froze on stage during his fundraiser in Los Angeles on Saturday night and had to be led away by Obama. The facts: Biden paused amid cheers and applause as he exited the stage with his predecessor following an interview moderated by late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. A source who helped organize and attended the fundraiser told the AP that there was nothing noteworthy about this moment and that Obama wanted to be chummy by walking off stage with Biden. Louis Kay, a spokesperson for Kimmel, called the claims spreading online, quote, nonsense. Attendees in the front row were shouting at him, and President Biden was trying to hear them, he wrote in an email to the AP. It's as simple as that. Don't you understand at this point? You are not allowed to use your eyes and ears. It was the party's final, most essential command. And in a post-truth world, the further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Orwell wrote a fortune cookie. He was a soothsayer. He was able to basically see the future. Didn't even know it at the time, that he was basically looking into the future. And that's what he has specifically done. So, right after that, let's see where MSNBC, another, post-truth media outlet. Listen to this crap.
Growing and insidious trend in right-wing media, broadcast, print, and social media. It is to take highly misleading and selectively edited videos of
selectively edited, highly misleading videos, and she went as far as to name everything. Newspapers, media, television, and social media. It's everywhere, okay? So don't believe anything you see or hear, because we're telling you you can no longer use your own eyes and ears to understand what's going on. It's all fake because we tell you it's fake. You don't have any choice in this matter. It's fake. We told you it's fake. Now shut up and deal with it. Yeah, that's what they're saying at this point.
President Biden directly from Republican National Committee social media accounts.
She's saying that the video was put out by the RNC. Wrong. That bottom video was put out by the Biden-Harris campaign. That top video was taken by people in the audience. That person who took that video in the audience posted it on Twitter. Then the RNC, people like me, people across Twitter, people across YouTube, they grabbed it and said, oh, here it is. The RNC wasn't the source. She lied right there. She had to have known she was lying. She didn't care. We live in a post-truth world. No longer can you believe your eyes and ears. We're going to tell you what truth really is.
And then use those videos to spread messages virally to cast doubt on President Biden's fitness for office. Here is this headline from the New York Post. Quote, Biden appears to freeze up, has to be led off stage by Obama at Megabucks LA fundraiser.
That is what it is. That is how it goes. Right now, you, me, everybody on YouTube are going to be subject to a censorship campaign of epic proportions. Need more proof? Okay. Let me show you what YouTube posted today. This, I looked at it as being a YouTuber and went, oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Look at this. What is a bridging-based algorithm, and how will YouTube be using it to try and ensure viewer notes are broadly helpful? So what they're going to begin doing is put notes on videos. Hey, what you're seeing here isn't exactly true. Sorry, we just want to let you know our fact checker said, nah, it ain't real. Notes, quote, will appear publicly under a video if they found to be broadly helpful. People will be asked whether they think a note is helpful, somewhat helpful, or unhelpful, and why. For example, whether it cites high-quality sources. What's a high-quality source? Okay. Or unhelpful, and why. For example, or is written clearly and neutrally. Neutrally. How in the hell, in a political year, can you write a neutral story? How can you as a reporter, a television network, post anything that is neutral? You are no longer allowed to have an opinion. Basically, make your video and you can say Dementia Joe had a blue suit on, but don't give your opinion as the suit looked wrinkled. Neutral. We're clipping your you-know-what. We just want it a certain way, and these people are going to be able to put notes on your videos. From there, we'll use what's called a bridging-based algorithm to consider these ratings and determine what notes are published. A bridging-based algorithm, so now back to 1984, Big Brother, now there's going to be an algorithm to determine if it's a real source and if it's neutral. This will help identify notes that are helpful to a broad audience across perspectives. It's got to meet both sides. If many people who have rated notes differently in the past now rate the same note as helpful, then our system, Big Brother, is more likely to show that note under video. These systems will continuously improve, i.e., as the algorithm is fed by these notes. The only way a system, an algorithm, AI, can improve is based upon things being fed into it. As more notes are written and rated across a broad range of topics. And then they include a picture of what it's going to look like. Here's a video, 15 extinct animals you should know. The viewers added a note. Some species of the giant tortoise were thought to be extinct. Did you ask to hear that from these people? So this guy, whoever, puts up a video about 15 extinct animals you should know, and the viewer added a note. And he starts talking about the Galapagos Islands and what was found in 2019 on Fernandina Island, above even the comments. So what you're going to see, don't know when, but you're going to begin seeing notes on videos that they deem not being neutral or not being from a highly credible source that the AI will determine. What videos do you think are going to get the notes and which ones aren't? Pretty easy to understand which ones are going to get the notes, won't you? Pretty simple. The party that told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, that was their final, most essential command. They are telling you straight up where we're headed in America. Actually, it's where we already are. The further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it. Truth out the window. Our AI, our opinion, our government will tell you what truth is and will tell you what opinion you should have. It was an edict from the White House, and basically instantly the media picked up, understood what their marching orders were, and they ran with it. So before I go into the next piece, which is gonna crack you up, because I'm gonna show you basically 5 minutes of unedited video where you can actually see for yourself. Well, let me just give you a little snippet here. Okay?
There seems to be a sort of rash of.
Anyway.
The only editing on this video, the only editing on this next,
And I don't want to.
these clips are the cuts. Everything in this video is specifically what he actually has done in public. Like I've said in one of my videos, Trump doesn't need a campaign ad. Trump just needs to just play this stuff on a loop and just let people hear it. But you're no longer allowed to use your eyes and your ears. It's not what we want you to know. And so, Barry, you may get a note on this video because we don't know if you're a credible source or not, and it's not neutral. I'm just showing you what this guy's doing.
Well, maybe choose my words. I was just thinking, anyway.
Anyway, I'm just going to show you specifically what he said, but it's going to piss people off because you're not allowed to show that. It's deep fake. It's whatever, cheap fake. No, it's not. It's actual clips, cuts, unedited of what he said. So before I go into that video, let me get some of this stuff from you guys, see what you guys are thinking. Wetwork says, Article 5 of the Convention of States is the way to save our country along with electing Donald Trump. Absolutely. Obama is for WEF. Yep. Salty Army is Legion. Stay frosty out there as well. Campaign ads must be a nightmare for the production team. There's so much. I mean, I clipped 5 minutes, but I mean, I could have gone on for 20 or 30 easily. There are still too many sheeple who believe the MSM lies. Do you really think they can win with all the newcomers crossing our border? Today he's about to just do something else. Again, the thing he's putting out today where the newcomers can get these other benefits, which I have to be careful saying here, is unconstitutional. Completely. It's going to take, but notice what he did. He's releasing this as the Supreme Court is going on hiatus. The Supreme Court won't be back until probably October, which means from now until basically through early voting, these people who are able to finagle their way through it might be able to do some early voting. They're going to have to go into the court and get an emergency order and shut this down. The Supreme Court has to be big boys, big girls, pull up your panties and get this stuff stopped. It's the only way. We need. Unfortunately, I've seen censorship on X, Twitter as well. Yep. Let's see here. I agree, Jim Skimmett. Okay, that's somebody different. We got here. We need people in ICE uniforms at the voting sites to deter illegal voters. Yeah, but then they'll end up basically arresting you for being there. Can DC tell them no more war? I would love to see that. I heard that a government agency is going to train the illegals, the newcomers, how to vote. I hope not. Riot fence around SCOTUS. Now, I've heard different versions of this. I've heard that, basically that's not real, that it didn't happen. But I don't live in Washington. If you're in Washington, you can see it. Let me know. KJP is a incompetent propagandist, a result of DEI. Yesterday was the first press conference on site that she's done in over 3 weeks. And with everything that's happened in 3 weeks, so much news, what did she lead with? Pride Month. That tells you something. We need to come together as Americans and fix this with our vote. It counts, absolutely. Yeah, it's Jan. You're up where Jan said down here. Yeah, Jan said it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy right now. It's absolutely crazy, nuts. So let me continue here because I don't want you guys here all day, and then I've got my other broadcast at 4 o'clock, so I don't want them to run in together. We get the Racine, Wisconsin rally, so we're going to talk about that. So I was going to play more of this Joe thing.
Look, I mean, Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. It was in January.
All this is fake. None of it is true. He didn't do this. Whatever you're seeing right now, whatever you're hearing, it's not true. We can no longer just even accept that this is true because I'm not a credible source. And that guy is much more on the ball. Everybody has told us in private he's on the ball.
After being elected, the late January, early February. He said, it's not, we lead, not just, well, I won't go into it. Here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what you can do, the drivers. For two reasons. One,
It's all fake. He didn't do this. It's what you're seeing isn't true. This is manipulated.
it's an impact that decades are making because inaction was there was inaction with the Department of from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa. The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to,
Anyway, maybe I should just stop it because I could just literally, there's probably 3 more minutes of that blah, 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 blah. But we're no longer supposed to believe it. We're no longer supposed to look at that and think it's true anymore. Nope, you're not allowed to. Well, at this point, some of the media has begun to push back. And I love seeing it. So I'm not going to go the rest of that because it would just probably piss you off to know that the leader of the free world is a completely almost senile person. So let me just show you as Fox and some of the others began to push back.
What we do on this program is we let the tape speak for itself. That is not manipulation. I think we're doing the right thing.
Stuart, good morning. I think you're right. We have not edited that tape. We have not edited any of these tapes. We have not sped them up. We have not changed them. We have not seen any change in multiple angles of the same video moment. It was not a deep fake for the former president to grab the president's arm and pull him.
See, he's going to get in trouble because he's saying what he saw. He's telling the people in the audience that on this show with forget what his name is, Stuart Varney, that he saw Obama grab Dementia Joe's hand and lead him off. No, you didn't see that. It didn't exist. It was a lie.
Actually happened in person. So there's nothing fake about it. There's nothing fake about the Italian prime minister grabbing the president as he turned around in Italy and gave a thumbs up to another skydiver. But he pulled away from the group and the Italian prime minister brought him back in.
See, the problem with that skydiving incident is that there were, the G7. So there were 7 other world leaders standing there. And he was the only one that just kind of just went over this way. How did the other people know, hey, listen, we're here to listen to this guy, and we're going to have to put our attention forward because people with cameras. Hey, Joe, the camera, it's over here. And Joe just turns around and walks the other way. See, they were making an excuse. They tried to tell you that it was okay because he was talking to somebody else. You're there with the leaders of the G7. However you think of them, it's 7 world leaders. You got a gaggle of press reporters. You got cameras rolling. It's precision based. Everything you guys do while you're at this meeting is locked down in time. At 1:01, you're going to have lunch. At 1:42, you're going to go out and watch the parachute guy. At 1:46, you're going to be talking to the media. At 1:47, you're going to shake some hands and kiss the babies. At 1:52 or whatever, we're going to go into the no one scripted. Hey, Joe, where you go? That wasn't there. In fact, when you see it, you can actually see the Prime Minister of Italy, Moroni, do a friggin' Michael Jackson moonwalk and kind of just skate back and go, let me get this old fool. He doesn't understand what he's supposed to be doing right now. I don't care if you want to say he was talking to somebody else. What I'm going to tell you is that he shouldn't have been. You're the leader of the free world. Basically, they're there because you're there. You, the President of the United States, you're holding court. I don't care if it's on another country's land. They're there because you are the big guy. You're the guy who's supposed to be keeping this all together. You're not supposed to be the guy to just wander off. And you definitely shouldn't be the guy that some other leader has to treat you like their kindergartner and go pull you back in. It doesn't make any sense. You're lying to us. We know you're lying to us, and we can see it with our own eyes.
Nothing fake about him not dancing at the Juneteenth ceremony at the White House and seeming being frozen. Those are all things that happened. So for the White House to say that this is a deep fake or a cheap fake is really interesting. And I think it's a moment, Stuart, that tells you how concerning the issue of age and competency is in the polls that they're looking at.
The internal data that they must be getting must be going, oh man, what do we do about this? How do we fix this? Want to go out and have him do a speech? No, that's not going to work. Want to have Dr. Jill go out and do a speech? No, that's not going to work. Have the Easter Bunny come out and direct them and tell them where to go again? No, that's not going to work. Well, what's going to work? Just tell people they're lying. Just tell people what they see isn't true. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to get the media and everybody else, and here's your copy of 1984. Read the manual.
Precisely.
Okay, so now I want to show you this one from Martha. Martha's basically suffering no fools right now. Martha's like, I'm going to call it like it is, and I'm going to tell you what actually happens.
White House now facing widespread backlash after claiming that the media is manipulating videos to make the president appear frozen or frail or at times mentally confused. We're going to show you 3 specific videos from just within the last week that the White House is referring to here. These have not been cropped. They have not been sped up or slowed down or edited in any way. Let's go through them one by one.
You know it's bad when Dementia Joe lets Kamala Harris's husband look like he's got rhythm. I mean, he must have looked at Joe and went, oh, I don't look that bad. I'm doing the Seinfeld, the what's her name, Elaine dance on Seinfeld with all the black people around here jamming, but I don't look as bad as that dude over there.
That's the Juneteenth celebration at the White House. And here is the president last week standing very still at a White House celebration, while everybody around him is dancing.
I almost can't blame him for that one. Can we give him a pass for that one? Maybe. I mean, he was frozen, didn't look like he knew where he was whatsoever, but man ain't got no rhythm, so ain't nothing you can do about that. But like I said, Kamala's husband was kind of trying to, do some kind of jam. He was so out of his place, and what's with the guy with the beard and the dress? Can't go there. I won't.
And here he is. This one is from 3 days later.
All right, so this one. Joe's already in a different world. He's already looking at these guys with the smile like they're delivering ice cream in parachutes. And all the other people, all the other world leaders are all standing there with their eyes on the prize. This is what we're supposed to do. And the first person that kind of looks like, what's going on, is the lady in the blonde hair to the right. I think she's like the European Union leader, whatever. She kind of looks over and goes, what's this guy doing? Right. Okay, so she looks too. But now she looks at Joe and goes, dude, where you going? Where are you going? That's my eyes. I can see her. I can see her look at him and go, oh, hey man, don't, hey, oh, yeah, he's off on his own. And she just starts clapping and she's like, whoa, what do we do now? So now the prime minister from Italy, who's behind the guy in a parachute, I don't know if she took a cue. I don't know if she was, got a little tip under the table or whatever, where somebody said, can you keep an eye on our kindergartner, our president who's masquerading, our kindergartner who's masquerading as a president? Because watch her come moonwalking back into Joe like nobody was supposed to notice. Okay, that lady's like, hey, we supposed to do something? That one, her and Macron were both like, yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do with him. So here comes, Macron looks at Moroni and says, you got this? She's like, yeah, I'm a mom. Okay, here we go. She turns her back, and now she comes in with the Michael Jackson moonwalk, just sliding back. Come on, babe. There you go, girl. There you go. Just slide back. Make it look like no big deal. Turn your sorry ass around and look at the camera. That's our world leader. That you just saw yourself. There was nothing really to hear because there wasn't really anything other than the choppers or whatever it is, the blades of the helicopter. But you saw with your own eyes. This woman had to come from the other side. She came from stage left and had to moonwalk to stage right for the sole purpose. There was no other reason for her to change position. Somebody told her, go get him. That's a question I would have asked KJP. I would find someone who'd do a press conference with Maloney here. Hey, what made you scoot across the stage here and go get him? Did somebody tell you in advance to watch out for him? Nobody's asked that question. How did she know that he was going to be in trouble? You just wouldn't think of that. You just wouldn't come to your mind and senses and go, you know what, let me keep an eye. Oh shit! I got oh boy. Let me go get him. They told me to watch out for him. Who are we doing a favor for? Who slipped you a note and said, can you keep an eye on Granddad over here? Because she went and got him.
Okay, so something else draws his attention, it appears. He wanders away from the other G7.
See, look where she is. She's all the way on the other side, paying attention to the parachuter. Joe's the only one heading off. How did she know?
Leaders during a skydiving demonstration gives a thumbs up to.
Okay, right there. Did she look at somebody who said, hey, go get him? What? Go get him. Because she's staring off right now.
Some others
and her
who
next
have landed
move, and there she goes. She got the cue from somebody. No one's talked about that on the news. I picked up on that. Is that fake? Did I make that up? I don't know, but I saw her look over here. I saw her specifically look, and then she took off. Somebody said, go get him, please.
By area.
And here she comes.
But then Giorgia Meloni, Italy's prime minister, goes over and sort of pulls him back to the G7 leaders group where they're about to hear something from the jumper who then speaks to them.
Did you see that? You're not supposed to. You can't believe your eyes anymore. But you saw her look over in this direction, and after she looked over in this direction, she did the boot scoop boogie and went after in reverse and went to go get Joe.
And here he is 2 days after this.
Okay, so right here on the right, you see the feed from the Biden-Harris campaign, and on the left, you see the actual video. See how they just cut? They cut it so you couldn't see the grab. These are time synced. It's the exact same video. You can see as they're walking. It's step for step. There's no editing here.
And you can see that former President Obama kind of taps him on the hand, puts his hand over the current president's hand.
And they cut their feed. They didn't want people to see him walk all the way off the stage. They cut it. Somebody else had another camera and showed the entire, walk and everything.
And kind of pulls a little bit. You can see that quite clearly. And then he has his hand on his back as the president slowly leaves the stage. He's kind of hearing him towards the exit area.
Okay, see, they cut. I just wanted to make sure I pointed this out so you can see. They cut away because they got the feed and they said, oh, second, shit, cut it, pull back. Pull back. Yeah, pull it back. We don't want people seeing this. We don't want this getting out. Why?
Where they're going. So the White House...
Boom. I can tell you right now, as a man, I have never reached out and grabbed another man's hand and said, we need to go this way. You're a grown-ass man. I don't care if you stand there all night. You want to stand there? You're the President of the United States. Stand there. If it was just to get applause and people were cheering for you, I'm fine. I'm going to head backstage to the green room, get something to eat. Joe's going to hang out and talk to the crowd. Why would you ever have had to take him off the stage? Another question the press will never ask. Why did Obama feel the need to reach down and grab his hand? If the guy was in all his faculties, if he knew exactly what he was doing, where he was going, what time he needed to be, where he needed to go, you could have just walked off. It was his party. This was a Biden-Harris fundraiser. It was not an Obama fundraiser. Hey, Barack, you want to take off? Go ahead and leave. Why did you feel the need that you had to grab Joe's hand? Nobody's asked that question. Couldn't Joe have just stayed out there, jammed to the music, signed some autographs, kissed some babies, high-five some people, then run off? Could he do that on his own? Why did you feel the need to grab a grown-ass man's hand and say...
I guess wants you to believe that these things are faked, that they're not actually happening, but we just played these sections for you in full. Brett Baer, Anchor Special Report. Brett, good to see you. Obviously, good morning. Obviously, we're at a very intense moment here in this campaign, just 5 months out. There's a big debate happening next week. And the White House is, I think, making a very concerted effort to try to throw cold water on these things that are getting attention, not just...
Debate. From what you've seen, not just in the last 5 or 6 days, how in the hell is this guy going to do a debate? What kind of drugs are they going to have to pump him up with for him to do a debate in basically 9 days? I don't see how it's possible unless all of this is a ruse and he's trying to basically, get everybody to let their guard down, and he's actually faking it, and he's actually, on it. He's on it. I'm just going to let these guys think I'm not ready. So when they all come in, they're going to let their guard down. I'm going to hammer Trump in 9 days. Yeah. Okay, you've been running this routine for too long. Your Charlie McCarthy thing with Obama's hand up your butt. How in the hell are they going to do a debate? No wonder Trump is saying, you got to drug test this guy. And then we got to pull on his skin to make sure that, there's no deep fake mask, that he's not that AI Manchurian candidate. Because what we're seeing would tell any person with a brain, this ain't gonna go well.
From the media, but, from regular folks all over social media as well.
Yeah, Bill and Martha, I think that this is fascinating. I think it shows the extent to which the age issue and really the competency issue for President Biden is surfacing in polls, not just...
Oh, it's surfacing in polls, all right. They're starting to see, again, the same data that we're seeing, but we're not supposed to believe that it's real data. He's getting... I did my video yesterday on the new black voter data. If you haven't seen it, please go ahead and click on that yesterday. But he's down 40 points in the black market. 40 points. There's a little snippet about it coming up here, but he's down. You can't make up those numbers. When I say make up, you can't come back from. It's over. Barry, how can you? It's over. I'm saying it, unless they find a way to let the newcomers vote or completely rig it, it's over. Smoke the cigar, get the champagne chilled. There is nothing they can do about this at this point, except shenanigans.
Just in Republican critics' corners, but independents. They're not going to go down this very detailed defense saying it's deep fakes or cheap fakes. There was nothing fake about former President Obama reaching over to President Biden's wrist and kind of tugging him to go.
How? How are they telling us it's fake? Are they saying your perception of it is fake? Then you're saying, hey, listen, how you took it isn't how it was. Well, you could argue that because everybody has their own perception. But again, that's using our eyes and ears. If we can see it, you're trying to tell us what we saw isn't what really happened. That's not really how it works. Well, I guess George Orwell found a way.
It wasn't fake when the Italian prime minister reached out to say, hey, come back over here. Now, you could characterize it that, if you didn't mention that President Biden was turning to the other parachuter had landed and gave a thumbs up, and that wasn't part of the story, fine. You could say that that's not characterizing the full context. But as the video itself shows, those people did grab the president. I think.
So what's interesting to me, and I think we all have to watch out for it. Today's only the 18th, right? 18th. We have 9 days until the debate. What are they going to do with him for the next 9 days? He's in the middle of a presidential campaign. Are they going to just keep him in a box for 9 days so that he doesn't do any more of this stuff? Because they can't stop it at this point. They can't. I mean, if he goes out in front of a microphone, he can't deal with the teleprompter, blah, 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 whatever he's going to say. You're going to see him take the deep sip and try to suck because maybe his dentures aren't tight enough. We can see it with our own eyes. What are they going to do for 9 days to keep this guy without looking like he's sliding even further?
The dancing one, maybe he doesn't like to dance. It looked like he was frozen there. But I think that the explanation by the White House that they're accusing the video of somehow being altered is really stunning in this moment when it's such a big issue in this election.
It's a real big issue in this election. Huge. So let me hear what you guys got to say. What's this guy say? You got to be seriously grasping to suggest the mega crowd seeks to laugh at dementia. No, I don't think anybody, nobody I know, laughs at dementia. It's serious. Too many people have lost loved ones, family members, to dementia and Alzheimer's. It's not something to laugh at. It's very serious. What we're laughing at, if anyone's laughing, is that these guys trying to tell us what we're seeing isn't really what's happening. You're basically gaslighting America, and you expect us all to go along with your insanity. It's bad enough that you make us go along with the purple-haired pronoun crowd and say you have to call them this name, otherwise you may get fined in some instances. Again, you're telling us what I'm seeing. That's a dude. Nope. It's heebie-zeebie-zaby. What? I identify as a ZB. Now I'm going to laugh at you. Those are perfectly healthy. Well, I shouldn't say healthy. You might have some sort of defect up here, but they're perfectly healthy. Otherwise, Joe has an issue with his health that they're trying to thrust upon Americans who can actually see it, and Americans who've been through it, who've lived through it, who've buried grandfathers and grandparents and moms and dads and go, I know what that is. Stop, man. You're making a mockery of everything that our family members had to go through. And you're doing it for what? Power? I mean, that's the sole reason that you're making this guy do this? God, man, take him out, let him retire. He can't go to jail because he's too incompetent to stand trial, and let him go sit on a beach in Delaware for the rest of his days. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need it. The country doesn't need it. So nobody's laughing at him per se. We're laughing at KJP and some of these people on his campaign who think that they can gaslight us. That's crazy. He's still the same racist from 40 years ago. Who knows? Who knows what he even thinks at this point? That's a problem. Let's see here. He's the president. He's fair game. Okay, you got a point there. I have no sympathy for Joe. Ashley said the diary is hers, and he made her. Ooh, yeah. I understand what you're saying. It's kind of hard to feel sympathetic for someone when they'll dig up information on Trump from 40 years and try to attach it to the guy he is right now. Yeah, he was a philanderer. Yeah, he cheated on his wife. Did he sleep with Stormy or the other Karen McDougal? I don't know. I wasn't there. However, that was way back then, and that's fair game. So I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Can't hardly wait for the Trump-Biden debate. Watch it here. I'm going to be broadcasting it on the 27th, so please feel free to join me. I would love for you to do so. We're going to have some fun and games as well. So let's continue with the next video. So it's bad enough that we can see the problem. It's worse when people internationally can see it. Listen to this.
But first, I've spoken many times about the very public and obvious cognitive decline of the US president. Like many others, I've lamented the precarious state of...
This is from the Australian news. Australia. Down under. Sydney. And they're seeing it and going, yeah, this is ridiculous. So I hope you guys can hear this.
The leader of the free world. And let's be honest, the man we rely on here in Australia to keep us safe, because God knows we can't do that ourselves. I've laughed when he's gaffed, and I've scoffed when he's humiliated himself on the global stage. But this week, ladies and gentlemen, we've entered a new era.
Which is what I started this entire video about an hour ago. We have reached a whole new rest area on this highway called Dementia Joe. It is now to the point where they expect to gaslight us and expect the world to play along.
And there is not one thing funny about it. Not a...
That's what I was just saying.
Single tiny little thing. For the first time, I didn't watch a man slur his words a little bit or forget his surroundings momentarily. I watched a man completely void of all awareness. A man not present at all in mind. A man who desperately needs help and care.
Instead of trying to stop our ban on ghost gun kits that contain these, that can commit crimes, they're working like hell to stop it.
The world has seen what's happened. That's the problem I think most of us have, is that you're making a mockery of America to the world. I have to stop every couple of minutes because they're playing music and I don't want to get dinged for copyright.
Now, this is no longer the fault of Joe Biden in any way, shape or form, i.e. an unwillingness to walk away or to give up power. No, he is well beyond that now. And that was flattering, by the way, that vision we showed you. The blame for this tragedy lies squarely on the people around him. The people who are meant to love him, meant to love their country. What they are allowing, enabling and encouraging is a disgrace, and one from which he and his political reputation, legacy, whatever you may think of it, will never recover. He should have been helped to walk away months, if not years ago.
Exactly. They knew this was happening. They knew that there was no cure. There's no medicine you can take for dementia or Alzheimer's. It's inevitably going to continue to get worse. They knew this a year ago. And they kept pushing and let him stay as their candidate. And now look what they're left with. And the world can see it.
There is no shame in being unwell. Zero. It's not that he's old. I know people far older who are sharp as tacks. It's not his age. He is unwell. He can't control it. It's sad. Many of us have seen our own loved ones go through similar things. It is just cruel to continue propping him up and putting him in places he does not belong. Jill, Dr. Jill Biden, where are you?
Doctor. See, that's another problem. They've thrust that on us as well. Call her Dr. Jill. Okay.
How could you? You are meant to love him. He is not a man in control. He needs people who love him to step in now. abuse might feel like too strong a word, but it's the first that comes to mind now whenever I see the president in public. And we all lose in this situation, all of us, the president included. This is not good for him. I'll leave you with this. There is no way in hell Joe Biden is running America.
That was chilling to me. That should be chilling to you. This is the news from Australia. She's not talking to an American audience. She's talking to an Australian audience. And she's telling the people in Australia, quote, there is no way in hell that Joe is running America. Straight up. Looked right in the camera and said it. If she knows that, then you have to realize those leaders at the G7, they all realized it as well. The only people being scammed are basically us Americans. Most of us aren't anymore, but they're trying to run the scam here. Everybody over there in different countries, no, this guy's gonzo.
No way. Which raises a question, who is? And in a democratic society, that just ain't good enough. We elect leaders, then live with the consequences of what the majority of us wanted at the time, what we chose. Whoever is calling the shots was not voted in. Now, in 5 months, it's looking more and more likely to be, well, a very different story. You might dislike Donald Trump, plenty do, but you will never, ever doubt that he's the one in charge. This morning...
That's true. You ain't going to have any doubt that he's running things.
He returned to Washington for the first time since the January 6 riots.
We have to take this beautiful place and we have to make it really something very special again. Right now, it's not special.
And let's hope for all our sakes, and given the alternative, come November, he'll be there on a much more permanent basis.
Wow. I mean, when I saw that, I was literally, wow. The world can see it, and people with half a brain are starting to understand you need Donald Trump. If other world leaders can see it, if she's an Australian news, if they can see it, they're laughing at us. Not at Dementia Joe. They're laughing at America going, what are you doing with this puppet? We know what dementia is. We know what Alzheimer is. What are you guys trying to pull? What is the scam you're trying to pull, not just on America? What is the scam you're pulling on the world? Like she said, Australia is one of our allies. They depend on us to protect that small country. And they're like, dude, are you serious? Oh, that's right. You got submarines, nuclear submarines firing test missiles off the coast of Cuba. Right 67, 80 miles away from Florida. If you can't protect Florida, how in the hell are you going to protect Australia? Somebody do something. That's exactly what she's saying. It's crazy. Australia is for Trump. Look at that. Yeah. They have to be. They want someone who they know when they can go to sleep, they're not going to have to wake up tomorrow morning and be speaking Chinese. And right now, they don't feel comfortable with, Dementia Joe. Jeff J. says, I'm telling you, Barry, these newcomers, they're going to find a way to get them to be allowed to vote so they can win. Dude, I hear you. And if that happens, all hell is going to break loose. I mean, video I did yesterday, I forget which guy said it. It's like, how do you wake up on November 6th after what we've seen, and how do you convince the American people that Dementia Joe won? How do you do that? I mean, there's going to be a certain part of the population that is definitely going to believe it if that were to be what they decide is going to happen. But most of us are going to say, Hopefully, things may not get there. So in this last segment here, they call the D block. Done pretty good. We're on pace here, a little bit over time. But in this, what's causing the desperation with Karine Jean-Pierre and the people in the White House? Well, they're starting to see that they're in deep, deep poo-poo. I mean, deep poo-poo. Numbers they haven't seen ever in terms of how people are turning to Trump. The whole conviction thing, didn't work at all.
Good afternoon. In Commitment 2024 news, former President Trump is holding a sizable lead over President Biden in Iowa's latest poll. The New Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll shows Trump leads Biden 50% to 32% among likely voters.
50 to 32 in Iowa. He was always going to win Iowa. He didn't know it was going to be a blowout, an absolute gobsmacking of Dementia Joe. And these numbers right now are what is fueling the other desperation.
This comes just 2 weeks after Trump was convicted on multiple felony counts in New York. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an independent candidate, earned support from 9% of likely voters. The poll also surveyed Biden's support among Iowans. The president holds a 28% approval rating and a 67% disapproval rating.
Absolutely brutal numbers. That's why I keep trying to tell you guys, there's no way, there's no mechanism based upon 3.5 years basically that they can turn around in the last 5 months and change. You're not going to convince that 72% who say he's crap all in the next couple weeks. Ain't going to happen.
Results also show that 97% of Republican respondents disapprove of Biden's performance.
The Des Moines Register yesterday, well-respected poll, has done.
Well-respected poll. It's one of the top polls in the country that people depend upon.
Well, Trump up an easy 50 to 32 over Joe Biden. The 50 doesn't surprise me for Trump. He's going to win Iowa. I don't know if it's going to be this margin. It might be bigger than that. What surprises me is the 32% number for Joe Biden. You think about right now, in Iowa, Trump was an easy winner in 2020. But you know what's up here? That's Minnesota. And over here, that's Wisconsin. You start to think a little bit, well, maybe you get some spillover into these other states.
The blue wall, the Midwestern blue wall. Now understand what he's just saying leads into what's happening at 4 o'clock. Trump is in Racine, Wisconsin. He already has seen the numbers in Iowa. People are talking about the bleed over from Iowa and Wisconsin into Iowa into Wisconsin and Iowa into Minnesota. There's no accident that he's in Wisconsin today.
And we'll see how that goes. This is our current forecast. Everything you see in yellow we believe is a legitimate toss-up state. I want you to put your eye on the northern state here, the Great Lakes states, Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota. Wisconsin's too close to call, but Minnesota and Michigan are lean Democrat. That could change. We'll see over time over the next 5 months. But Donald Trump's going to be in Wisconsin today. He's going to Philadelphia on Saturday, too.
So those are two toss-up states he's going to be back-to-back. We're doing a rally at 4 o'clock. You guys need to tune in. Be some fun. And then Saturday, he's going into the belly of the beast. He's going into Philadelphia. He's going into urban Philadelphia, where Temple University is. He's going again after that black market. Will he win the black vote? No. There is no possible way under any scenario that Trump will win the black vote, but he doesn't have to win it. Just keep chipping away. Just chip it away. The more he chips away, the higher the impossibility of the Democrats winning this election.
In Pennsylvania, again, one of these states that we have in yellow, a pure toss-up state. This was Minnesota in 2020. Joe Biden, an easy winner by about 7 points. And just come back to Wisconsin a moment. I just want to make this point.
This is huge right here.
2016, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in Wisconsin by 22,700 votes. But there was a third-party candidate, Gary Johnson, on the ticket then, all right? He got 100,006 votes. There was no third-party candidate in 2020, and that's when Joe Biden, by a whopping 20,000 votes out of 3.2 million cast, was able to beat Donald Trump in that state.
He was able to beat Donald Trump. Okay. Continue here. You see where he's going.
State and take the electoral votes there of 10. So just as we start to put this together here, and I'll walk back over and talk to Martha about this. We know this, Brett. In Wisconsin this year, Jill Stein, the presumptive Green Party candidate, will be on the ballot. And we think Robert Kennedy, when he starts getting signatures starting in July, he only needs 2,000.
So there are going to be 4 people on the ballot in Wisconsin. 4 people, and those other 3 are pulling most of their votes away from Dementia Joe. If he only won Wisconsin by 20,000 votes back in 2020, only one, and now you've got three other candidates on the ballot, and you're losing a significant part of the black vote, it's over.
So in all likelihood, in Wisconsin, you're going to get maybe 4 candidates on the ballot. Why is that important? Biden has to win Wisconsin, period. If he doesn't, that's what cracks the blue wall, Brett.
Over. I've been trying to tell you guys this. This is so daunting at this point. Yes, we're talking about these newcomers and see what kind of thing they're going to try and hatch, what kind of shenanigans they're going to play. But I'm already calling it. When you've got that many candidates on the ballot, four, you only won by 20,000 last time. And now there's going to be basically 2 other candidates pulling away from Democrat votes, and deep blue Milwaukee, where there's just a significant amount of black people that he's going to pull from Biden.
I totally agree. It's one of the reasons why the Republicans chose Milwaukee as the site for the Republican National Convention. Wisconsin is crucial, and most polls have it really tight.
Polls are wrong. I'm telling you right now. Watch what happens.
A little bit advantage to Biden in recent polls, but it shifts back and forth depending on the week. You mentioned Minnesota. That has come down to about 3 or 4 points. And, you know, the former president is trailing there, but it is really within the striking distance.
Absolutely.
There are states like Virginia that are much more in play than they used to be. I think since the conviction, you have seen some softening in independent numbers for the former president, but overall...
So what he's saying there is that since he got convicted, some of the independents that were on the fence are seemingly moving around, maybe not necessarily to Biden, but maybe possibly to RFK as well. So he's going to address that here real quick. So let's listen to this.
If the election were held today, it looks by our reading of all of the average of polls, the former president would win. It's not today, and we have a long way to go.
On that point, Marist came out with a national poll today. They got a dead even 49-49, and they show some weakening, some softening among independents. So maybe something like that is happening. We'll see in time, Martha.
Yeah.
But see, with this softening with the independents, we move over here, they're not talking about the extreme shave off of the black community and the Hispanic community.
Let's take a look quick at this CNN media montage of people who are covering this race, just absolutely aghast at the numbers that they're seeing. Watch it.
Good word. Aghast. Freaking out is better.
Yes.
How can you look at these statistics, these numbers, and not conclude that Joe Biden is a drag on the ticket?
I just think here we are in the middle of summer and things will stabilize and get back to norms as they always do.
Norms. I talked about that yesterday. Normal. They want things to go back to normal. It's not normal to see this many people in the black community shifting to the Republicans. That normality that they count on. He just said it again. He underscored what I said yesterday. They want the normality back. Hey, you're supposed to vote Democrat. We expect it. Nope, ain't happening.
But the numbers are the numbers, Bakari. I mean, are you saying just don't believe the polls?
I keep looking for signs that this is going to...
This is what I showed you the other day.
...go back to normal, and I don't...
Back to normal. 2 guys in a row on CNN. Hey man, we need to go back to the future. We need normality. We need these black people back on the plantation. It ain't happening, bro.
See it. Yet I just never seen anything like this. I'm like speechless.
Yeah, he's talking there about the swing, Harry Enton, with black voter support, where Biden was up 80 in 2020 and is now up by 37. You know, we've all covered...
Insurmountable. Again, I don't know if you could get enough newcomers to cover that kind of a gap. How the hell do you lose 30, 40 points and expect to make that up with Dementia Joe? It ain't happening.
These races for a long time, too. I don't think we've ever seen moves like that, ever.
We haven't. And if that held, it would be astonishing.
Absolutely.
And it would be a major factor in this race. A Republican only has to pick up 2, 3, 4 points in the black vote to change the dynamic in these swing states. You're talking about 20, 25, 30 points in a shift.
Think about that. Think about what he just said. I've been telling you guys this for weeks now. Dementia Joe won the entire election based upon 4 or 5 points. And that includes the 80 and 90% black markets. 4 or 5 points. And you're talking about a drop of 20, 30, 40%. It's insurmountable. Barry, you're being too cocky. Nope. I just know it's insurmountable. It's like being down 30 points in the second half, about midway through the third quarter. Could it happen? Sure. If you've got stellar athletes, you got a great quarterback, you got an unbelievable wide receiver, you got a quarterback who can make it happen, sure, you could come back. The Democrats don't have that bench. Their quarterback can't do it. People are looking at their quarterback and go, we're just going to blitz every play. We're just going to keep coming after you. We're going to go into the black community and talk to these people. We're going to have other black people like me talk about it even more. We're going to have Latin people talk about it. We're coming after you. We're blitzing you on every single down. We don't think you have the ability to move out the pocket. You don't have that mobility anymore, Dementia Joe. You're done. You're a sitting duck. Our defensive ends are going to sack the hell out of you. And we're going to keep coming and coming and coming until we just beat you into submission. Unless, of course, the refs call a flag, pass interference, and put you on the 1 yard line. That's the only way this team, being the Dems, can win. Unless they get some help with the refs, i.e. at the poll watchers. That's the only way they can win. We've seen it in sports. We've seen people, referees, throw the flags, get their whistle, get to be prominent. They actually can shift the game. The debate moderators, Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, they're the ones who are going to be able to basically moderate and move things around. That's the only way they can win. There is no way they win with the people. So at this point, things have shifted. At this point, what we're seeing is an intense amount of censorship about to come. They're going to make sure that everything that you see with your eyes and everything that you hear with your ears is not true. Forget the polls, forget what you see, forget the rally sizes. None of that matters. We're still going to win. How? Don't worry about it. We got a plan. Well, what's your plan? Because nobody knows what it is. It's funny. I can look in the comments here, and I've seen comments on Twitter, and everybody's like, they're going to do something. Well, it's got 5 months ago. They're going to come up with something. Every time you say that, and every time I say that, and every time everybody on Twitter or YouTube says they're going to do something, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're basically all saying they're about to cheat. So you know it as well. You know it in your heart right now. There is no way this old man can beat Donald Trump. We're all just waiting going, okay, what are they going to do? How are they going to take this? What kind of shenanigans are they going to pull? Because there's no way else, no other way that they can win. I'm completely confident in that. So many of you guys are. We can see it. We can absolutely see it with our own eyes that there's no possible way they can win. And what scared me yesterday, and I don't use the word scare that often, is when I heard them basically get on stage, look in the camera, and say what you saw and what you heard didn't happen. And if they get the media to play along with that, that may be their surprise move at this point. They're going to censor everybody, shut everybody down, turn off channels, boot people off Facebook, do whatever they can so that the word doesn't get spread. And that's where you come in. You can't let it happen. At this point, and I've made a commitment here, if you don't spread the message and let people know, hey, this is BS, we know it's coming, and let them know, talk to family members, friends, co-workers, it's coming. Something is going to happen. They've already begun. YouTube dropping these notes on videos. The media starting to just echo everything. Oh, it's all fake, it's all fake, all fake. Hey, Trump, if you win, if you lose, no matter what, will you accept it? What kind of question would you ask somebody that way? You wouldn't ask that of a football coach. Hey, you're going into the Super Bowl. Are you going to accept the loss no matter what happens? No, if I get cheated, if somebody throws a flag in the end zone with 3 seconds left and the team scores a touchdown to win, no, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. I'm not going to go over and shake somebody's hand when I know full well you've cheated on me. You called this a fumble and the guy's knee was down. I can clearly see it. We all can see his knee down. We can all see he was out of bounds when he caught that pass. Nope, what you're seeing no longer matters. Hey, Caitlin Clark went up for a layup and, the black WNBA player beat her in the head. Nope, that was just a hard basketball play. She didn't have anything against her. You see what I mean? What you see doesn't matter anymore. You have to let your friends, coworkers, and family know that what they see is real. What they see is happening. Every single day, including today when he's getting ready to do that executive order, you have to see they're now putting the steps in place to play their shenanigans and games. That's politics is over. They know they can't win. All right, so since we know this guy can't win, what do we do now to make him win? Step number 1, shut everybody down. Make them shut up. Step number 2, hey, there's a bird flu coming. Step number 3, I don't even want to guess. Be ready. Stay frosty is the term. Let me take a couple more comments. I hope you guys liked this first news show. I'm right at about hour 26. I figured I would stop at an hour and 30, but that's where we are. This will make one heck of a series. Make one heck of a book, too. Barry, could they be trying to convince the right that DJT has the election locked up to their point that conservatives stay home? Stay home. It's no good. Don't matter. At this point, every single person needs to walk through glass, crawl through glass, and vote. There should be no satisfaction, no, feeling like everything's done. No complacency whatsoever. Don't take anything for granted. You have somebody who's willing to do anything to beat you. You have to do anything to not let them. That's where we are. I don't think complacency should be a part of our vocabulary for the next 6 months. You need to do everything to get people out to vote. You have to. You also have to watch what's going on. I said in my video yesterday, one thing I don't think they're counting on is that with this huge cultural shift in the Black and Latin community, that wasn't there in 2020. When people showed up at night and were dumping stuff in these boxes, there was nobody in the hood watching. That ain't gonna fly this year. There are gonna be people everywhere. Detroit, you saw what happened. The pastor praying for Trump. Those people know other people who know other people. Hey man, do me a favor. Keep an eye on that thing on the corner of 6th and Thrifty. Make sure that box on the corner of 6th and Thrifty ain't nothing happening with that. You got it? Got it. Hey man, I understand the supermarket's got his box. You keep an eye on that box, man. Those eyes weren't there in 2020. That's the kind of mobilization we're going to need to make sure they can't do the shenanigans. It so sucks. I can't even say the words. I have to say newcomer. I have to say shenanigans. I can't call it as we see it. But that's what we have to do. They can't win without it. So we have to be able to somehow stop it. Get your convicted felon shirt on and let's go do it. Somebody asked, what will happen if they do it again? I don't even know. Scary thoughts. Absolutely scary thoughts if they do it again. I don't know what we'll do because I don't think people are going to stand for it, especially now. I mean, come on. The dude's got nothing. And we're going to see in the next 10 days what they pump him up with. I can't wait to see what he's like at the debate. I don't know if they agreed to that sitting thing. I hope they did. I hope Donald said, nope, we're standing. And then we got the court case coming up. Shit's going to get really weird the next couple 10 days. All right, guys, I got to get out here, grab some lunch, and then get ready to get back in here at 4 o'clock for the rally in Wisconsin. Hope you guys can tune back in. Thank you for the first run here. Tell your friends, 1 o'clock every single day, as much as I possibly can. Going to be announcing a new sponsor tomorrow. I'm not even going to call it a sponsor, new partner. See you guys at